What makes a simple story intriguing? I could praise Lighthouse for many different aspects of filmmaking done right, but The Lighthouse is phenomenal, not only because Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson are fully committed, nor because of Robert Eggers' ability to create an incredible atmosphere, but also because of Eggers' ability to so delicately balance the question of what is really happening. 2019's The Lighthouse features Willem Dafoe as longtime lighthouse keeper Thomas Wake, and Robert Pattinson as first-time Wickie Thomas Howard, who goes by Ephraim Winslow for the first half of the film. For this video, I will refer to them as Wake and Howard to keep it simple. The Lighthouse is a very simple story when you really step back and look at the plot as a whole. Two lighthouse keepers slowly going crazy as a storm keeps them stuck on an island. This is almost too simple, so why does it work so well? In my opinion, the intrigue that The Lighthouse achieves is a huge part of its success. But what is intrigue? In short, intrigue is when you inspire curiosity, making the audience an active participant in trying to figure out what's happening. How does The Lighthouse do that? This film happily fills itself with questions and doesn't bother to explicitly answer pretty much any of them, only giving enough to have the audience endlessly speculating. Some of the questions this film makes the audience ask are provoked by showing the audience almost enough to come to a conclusion about something before showing evidence that that conclusion might be wrong. For example, we are shown Wake being overly aggressive towards Howard, leading us to think he might be trying to manipulate Howard, until you see them starting to enjoy each other's company. You can also find this pattern when Wake slaps Howard, exclaiming,
"Bad luck to kill a seabird,"
making you think Wake is overly superstitious until Howard actually does kill a seabird and the weather immediately changes for the worse. These questions also come from the way this film is edited, sometimes cutting into the middle of a scene where we don't know what provoked the current situation. An example of this is when we are randomly dropped in on a scene of Howard being chased by Wake with an axe. We as an audience can't tell how this started, so we get the opportunity to use our imagination to fill in the blank.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Another example is when the relief does not come due to the storm. We step in on a scene where Howard believes one day has passed since the tender was missed, but Wake says it's been weeks since the tender was supposed to come.
It's only been one day.
Devil's tail.
Look, maybe the tender did come. We just missed her is all. I can take the dory out.
Weeks, Winslow. Weeks.
What?
What do you mean, what? Weeks. Weeks. I have weeks.
We can use our imagination here as well. Did weeks really pass and Howard had a psychological break? Did one day pass and Wake is trying to gaslight Howard? Is Wake the one who had a psychological break and imagined weeks having passed? Questions in this film even come from the montages happening throughout it. There is a montage around Howard as he is pleasuring himself to the mermaid scrimshaw, where you see a glimpse of the back of Ephraim's head and a separate shot of a cant hook lunging forward. In this montage, you can also see Howard finding the previous lightkeeper's head in a lobster trap. I will say this, as the movie goes on, it becomes clear that no matter what is happening, Howard is losing his grip on reality, and he's clearly very guilty over his inaction in helping Winslow. I think it would be a mistake, however, to say that he was crazy from the beginning, and we still cannot confidently say what is making him lose his grip. Is he concussed from the nasty fall he took while painting the lighthouse? Does Howard have a drinking problem? Is it that Wake pushed him to go mad? Another reason this works so well is the subject matter. In a movie where people are going insane, it helps the audience to relate to the characters on screen. We can't be certain about what's really happening, just the same way that the characters we're seeing aren't sure either. Robert Eggers does this to a smaller extent in his directorial debut, The Witch. Only in that movie, you get a more definitive explanation of what is really going on. The Lighthouse goes even further and makes the audience an unreliable narrator, unsure of the events we just watched.
What the hell am I looking at?
The Lighthouse can be compared to The Shining. They both feature an isolated group of people slowly going mad while seemingly provoked by supernatural occurrences. The more important common note, in my opinion, is that both of these movies intentionally leave you without solid answers. In a similar fashion to The Lighthouse, you get sucked into The Shining's vague explanations and lack thereof. What demons are in Jack Torrance's past? Is the hotel possessing him? Let's quickly take a look at a movie that might have been improved by leaving a few more questions to be asked. 2016's Passengers. In this movie, Jim Preston is aboard a spacecraft with 5,000 colonists in hibernation pods when he is unexpectedly woken up 30 years into a 120-year trip. After a year of isolation, he decides to wake up Aurora Lane, letting her believe it was also a malfunction. Over the next year, they fall in love, and as Jim is planning to propose, the android bartender on board accidentally reveals to Aurora that Jim chose to wake her up. We see all of this from Jim's perspective, but imagine if we saw it from Aurora's. Rather than knowing that Jim chose to wake up Aurora from hibernation, we could feel the conflict that Aurora is feeling as she is falling in love with Jim, but also seeing small signs that there is something he is hiding from her. If The Lighthouse was similarly structured, you would follow either Howard before he goes to the Lighthouse, where it would be clearly explained what issues he has in his past, or you would follow Wake, where you would likely get a full backstory of what his connection with the light is, and an explanation of what really happened with his previous wiki. Neither of those would by nature be bad, but they wouldn't make you as intensely curious as the movie we got does. Robert Eggers intentionally sought out to place the viewer in an unreliable narrator's perspective and laced in clues everywhere to feed the viewer's imagination, allowing the viewers to make their own theories. Eggers has also said about this film that he went into it intending to make more questions than answers. I believe The Lighthouse works because of what it does not explain. Thanks for watching. This was my first essay-style video. Please leave your feedback in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.